Donald Cerrone may not have been a UFC champion, and he may not be as dominant as some other fighters, but trust us when we say this dude is a legend and a Hall of Famer for a reason. No one terrorized contenders in both the lightweight and welterweight classes quite like Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone. The man had awe-inspiring striking as a kickboxer and could always hold his own even against the very best. For today's video, we're looking at some of the best badassery out of Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone, his best knockouts, off-the-court antics, submissions, and just overall cool-as-heck moments. Before we get to the meat of the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos on the coolest sports content. Cowboy versus Nate Diaz.
What's the deal with you and Nate?
At 202, I went up and talked to Nate and Nick, both of them. And I said, hey man, this shit's got to stop. Like, we either got to figure it out or figure it out, you know what I mean? And they were like, cool man, you know, I said every time we see each other, it's like, I don't want to mug you across the room all the time.
Fights don't always have to end with a filthy knockout or a grinded-out submission to be a treat to watch. That was the case when the Cowboy went up against MMA legend Nate Diaz. Even before the fight had even started, we were entertained by these two dudes' antics. It was clear from the get-go these two didn't like each other at all. Even during the pre-hype, not nice words were exchanged, and Nate Diaz straight up knocked off Donald Cerrone's iconic cowboy hat, showing he did not give a single damn and was ready to throw hands. They then started as the co-main event of UFC 279, ready to cause chaos in the ring. They obviously don't touch gloves because, of course, they wouldn't, and Nate Diaz straight up gives Cowboy the middle finger. The two then proceeded to give us 3 hotly contested rounds of pure action. We saw some insane striking, some good grappling and wrestling, some grappling on the ground game, and overall good old-fashioned MMA. In the end, Nate Diaz gets the win over Cowboy Cerrone, but it was clear that this fight could have easily gone either way. Truly a masterclass of MMA and the best showcase of these guys. Cerrone sets records.
Throughout the years, everyone talks about, oh, he's a future Hall of Famer, but that's just talk. Like, you don't actually know. And then I was talking with my buddy, and I was like, you want to come to this fight? And he's like, why are they bringing us? I don't know. And I think, you think this might be announced? I said, no, it hasn't even been a year. Like, there's no way it could be this soon.
Winning, losing in the end, sometimes we don't remember how many wins or losses a fighter has to remember how good a fighter is. Cerrone didn't always win, but he got an insane 55 matches throughout his UFC career and holds records for having some of the most fights, wins, and overall accolades throughout his stints in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, World Extreme Cage Fighting, and Strikeforce. Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone also has an insane amount of knockouts, holding a UFC record-breaking 20 knockouts throughout his MMA career. The man has had more knockouts than some fighters have in MMA bouts in general. Longevity isn't something we always see in MMA, but Cowboy Cerrone is one of those odd exceptions who has lasted a crazy amount of time in MMA for a reason. When it comes to long careers, Cerrone is in the same boat as Vince Carter, Tom Brady, and other Ironmen in sports. The Cowboy was a dinosaur that has a historic book of MMA accolades in the books. Submission versus Dennis Siver. While many would attest to how Cowboy Cerrone preferred to knock opponents out and get them wrecked beyond belief with his kickboxing skills, you'll be surprised by how good this guy is in the submission clinch too. Dennis Siver ended up learning about the Cowboy's insane submission skills when they met at UFC 137. Off the bat, the mismatch was clear as Dennis Siver could simply not keep up with Cowboy's striking, as he repeatedly staggered and struggled to keep standing. Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone decided that instead of going for an easy ground and pound TKO, he would instead make a highlight reel behind the back choke. Without even breaking a sweat, Cowboy Cerrone ended up getting an easy tap out. That tap out was easily the best submission out of any UFC fighter that week. Truly a legend, Cowboy Cerrone was more than just a kickboxer, as he showed. If he wanted to, he could produce highlight reel submissions too. The Cowboy was truly a jack of all trades on all ends in MMA. Cowboy versus Alexander Hernandez. Cowboy Cerrone is an MMA veteran, but the Cowboy can hold on and keep up even with the young guns of the UFC. Alexander Hernandez came in ready to go blow for blow with Cowboy Cerrone, but Cowboy Cerrone came in ready to do battle. Alexander Hernandez was left bloody as Cowboy Cerrone just soaked up hits and threw his own brand of hits. Alexander Hernandez had shots that were hitting, but Cerrone was just winning every exchange. Alexander Hernandez was then hit with an insane head kick that just rocked him so hard. Cowboy Cerrone ended this fight early and in his own brand of highlight reel striking. Hernandez again won another knockout of the night and showed his old bones still got weight behind his punches and kicks. Alexander Hernandez learned that day that Cowboy Cerrone is a monster even as a UFC vet. Cowboy Cerrone truly had old man strength and could always surprise you with an insane knockout out of nowhere. Cowboy versus Benson Henderson. Up for another certified classic bout, Donald Cowboy Cerrone went up against Benson Henderson. The two battled it out again as they fought for another long bout of trading blows, grappling, and wrestling. Cowboy Cerrone put up another masterclass. These two had gotten through a bunch of bouts before, and in the 2 times these guys matched up, Benson Henderson had the win. Their last fight, not to mention, was also a UFC Fight of the Year contender, so everyone was hyped for this matchup. This time, however, even with the odds matched against him, Cowboy was ready to do some damage. This fight was another masterclass of MMA. We saw striking, heavy hits, combos, grappling from all over, and just amazing MMA in general. The fight goes the distance again, and as they reach the 3rd round and it goes to a decision, Cowboy Cerrone ends up with a win, and everyone is just as proud of this performance by the MMA legend. Retirement and legacy. People nowadays don't seem to realize just how good prime Cowboy Cerrone really was. Everyone, including fellow fighters who fought against him, would tell you Cowboy Cerrone was an absolute workhorse. Cowboy Cerrone was always grinding away at the gym and was always ready to throw hands. There was also no fighter that came in ready to cause chaos no matter who goes up against him. Cowboy Cerrone keeps up with anyone in that ring, whether it was the biggest fighter in the world or just a young and upcoming proving himself, Cerrone was ready to fight. Nothing said more about this dude's legacy than his cavalcade of accolades, winning a whole bunch of performance of the night, knockout of the night, submission of the night, and a whole bunch of other accolades. Cowboy Cerrone always had a chance to win the biggest award of the night with how he always gives his all in every fight. Cowboy wasn't just looking to win, he was looking to do damage and create a highlight for all the fight fans. And that's all for today's video. What's your favorite Cowboy Cerrone moment? Write your answers down in the comments, and while you're at it, leave a like if you enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications on the newest videos on the best sports content.